Up next, author and musician Steve Lauden talks about his new book on punk rock drumming.
Like a lot of people, I grew up listening to music, and I was really lucky to have two older brothers who would play me records and took me to concerts. So I got to see Aerosmith and Dio and Def Leppard. But when I was 12, some neighborhood high school kids played the Dead Kennedys record In God We Trust Incorporated for me. It scared the heck out of me. I was so fast. The vocals were so crazy. The words that I understood were a little bit frightening, what he was singing about. But at the same time, the energy of it, specifically the drumming, and I was just kind of starting to toy with the idea of becoming a drummer. And punk rock kind of gave me permission, right? Because listening to classic rock, it almost seems like you have to be at this like expert level before you can even start to play. But with punk, it was like, buy a drum set and start a band the next day. Punk rock was really important to me personally, just because of one, the age at which I discovered it. It really felt like something that I could own myself and help define myself at a really important time in my life. But it also was during this period in my life where my mind was kind of getting blown every 15 minutes. I don't, maybe that's like synapses connecting or puberty or I don't know what, but punk rock hit me around the same time as literature. And so the two have always kind of gone hand in hand for me. Around the same time that I discovered punk rock, I discovered Kurt Vonnegut, Charles Bukowski, John Fonte, Jack Kerouac. And so it makes perfect sense in my mind that I would make a book eventually that married those two things. Forbidden Beat, Perspectives on Punk Drumming is a collection of essays, interviews, and top 5 lists where drummers get to talk about their 5 favorite influences. I made this more as a celebration. It's a total labor of love, but I read a lot of musical nonfiction, and there's just not a lot of spotlight put on drummers, specifically when you read punk books, which is why when I read Stranded in the Jungle by Curt Weiss, his book about Jerry Nolan from the New York Dolls, he was one of the first person I asked to be in the book because it was so well written and I could sense his passion.
If you want something energetic and aggressive, punk rock is really it. You want something you could stomp to and with a like primal, scream and primal beat. And there's nothing more primal than the drums. Those first few raw Ramones records are perfect. There's nothing to change about them, those songs are 1 minute and 48 seconds, some of them. And the lyrics are just this bursts of screaming about let's have fun. And my whole family are mentally, challenged, and let's have a party. I really liked writing the piece about Jerry. I could just concentrate on him as a player and the impact his playing had on the music and the music that came a few years after, being able to write about the Psychedelic Furs and the Replacements and 2 completely different bands who didn't sound anything like the New York Dolls, who got a lot from the Dolls and who got a lot from Jerry. Punks are non-traditionalist, you could argue, but there was something about the tradition lives and I get to be a part of letting people know that tradition lives on.
I think a lot of people automatically, when they hear drummer book, they think that it's going to be a technical manual that's basically going to teach you how to play drums. And so I had to kind of refine my pitch for people and explain to them that this isn't a technical manual that will teach you how to play punk rock drums. All you got to do to play punk rock drums is get some drums or some trash cans, and congratulations, you're a punk rock drummer. But this is more about the stories of people's journeys to how they became the punk rock drummers that they are, and the kinds of drummers and musicians and bands that influenced them along that journey.
Forbidden Beat, Perspectives on Punk Drumming is available in bookstores and online. Steve and Curt will take part in a virtual book event at Third Place Books on Tuesday, April 5th. Catch Art Zone Friday nights at 8 and anytime online at seattlechannel.org/artzone.